Keeping venomous reptiles is an unforgiving hobby, requiring proper training and lots of experience. One simple mistake can be the difference between life and death. Remember, the most venomous snake in the world is the one that just bit you. There are no venomous snakes with training wheels. Just because you see viperkeeper handle snakes a certain way does not mean you should try it too.
About to feed baby deathies who are hiding in their substrate. There's one, and another, and one more.
Well, the first tactic we use, one of them has already eaten a frozen thawed gecko, but that's not my ideal food. That's sort of a fallback food. Ideally, we want to get them on something plentiful and cheap and easy to come by, and that's pinky mice. Now, I am not sure who was the one on the geckos. I'm thinking it's this one. I see the respiration increasing. That could be just because I'm like, oh no, here he comes to force feed me again. No response. Other than respiration increase, no response. We got heavy breathing.
Any tongue flicking?
No tongue flicking.
I've backed off a little bit so I don't freak them out with the big scary camera.
Okay, we just had a tongue flick. Geckos are even a little bit big for these guys. Pinks are ideal because they're soft and squishy and relatively easy to get down. Hi. No? No, we're going to be resistant? Huh? Okay, not surprising. Very rare do we have baby death adders right out of the chute that are ready to eat. Normally this is just something that happens very infrequently. Okay, so now we have to go to the more invasive step of removing them and tease feeding them, or attempting to tease feed them, and that's a male, so that's going to be a problem right off the bat. Or it's presumptively a male. It's a little young. So it's a little dangerous because I really prefer to tease feed with the short forceps, which I've had since 1975. These are my favorites, gold standard of feeding forceps. Now, we can either do this easy or do it rough, as Tina Turner would say in her famous song. Hi, Elvis.
He's staring at me. What?
You're feeding finger food again. Okay, so now we got, there's generally no problem in getting these guys to strike. The problem is getting them to strike and hold, and for you to time it, part of it is the operator. You need to time it so when they bite and strike, you release and it ends up in their mouth. Come on. Come on. Now, death adders, the two ways of getting them pissed off is you tap their neck like that, or you tap their tail. And you can see how fast they come around on their tail. Tailing baby death adders is a certain way to sustain a bite. Now, as squamengers, I've been known to tap their tails. Okay, baby squamengers, a bite from a baby squamager would be painful and no fun, but it would not require a trip to the emergency room as would any bite from a baby death adder. Oh, we're going to run, huh? No, you're not. We're going to fight. We're going to fight. Go on. Come on. There we go. Come on. Now, we'll do this for a few minutes. And after a few minutes, if there is no success, you'll unfortunately have to restrain the animal and force feed it. Are you an ass biter, huh? Are you an ass biter? Why don't you just take this and let's be nice about it? Come on. Come on. There's no reason for me to have to squish your little head and hold you so you would eat this. Now, I really don't like feeding baby death adders because they do this really nasty death roll within their skin. And they're very strong compared to baby squamengers, which are very weak, or baby Soschirukii. These are little fat tanks. Come on. Come on. And restraining them is no easy task for their size. And because their head is small, it makes it all the more difficult. Okay, that was progress. Come on, we'll go for a few more rounds with you. Come on. Come on. Come on. Ah, that sucks. He had it, but I pulled it out of his mouth. Come on. Come on. Sometimes it takes a little while, like with baby squamengers, for them to get the picture that you're not going to leave them alone until they eat this. And sometimes that never even comes to fruition because they're like, I'm just not going to eat this no matter what you do, and then you're forced to force feed them. Now, it's really sort of counterproductive, nutritionally wise, to do this because pinks are not the most nutritious food item on the planet for them.
Oh, you little brat.
This is more of a training thing where eventually they get to the point where they'll take it with little provocation and we'll be done with it. Now, we interrupt this program for a moment of derping. There's Slinky in full derp. Yeah, that's just the way he is. He's a very nice, slack-jawed individual. Okay, so we've reached our limit with this guy because we don't want to spend the entire day screwing around with him. So now it comes to the rather tricky and dangerous portion of our program. Now, undoubtedly, that little snake will poop on me, and let's hope that's the only thing it does to me today. Yeah. Are you going to eat that, or are you going to spit it out? Huh? You're chomping it and envenomating it, which is good, because that means there's less venom available to get into my skin if something bad happens. Come on. Okay, relax. Fighting this is just futile. Unless, of course, you do actually bite me, and then, well, you win at least this round. Come on. Come on. The funny thing is, as you feed them and get them more nutritionally on the road to adulthood, it actually fuels their ability to resist you from force feeding them, which is, you know, also a problem because they get more and more difficult. Now, we will try to get 2 in that little tummy, so we make some nutritional headway. Oh, no you don't.
Ooh, there goes the death roll.
We want to wet the mouse to make it slide easier. We don't want to wet the head so the head is slippery and easier to get out of your grasp. Okay, so now you've got a full tummy and hopefully you will not regurgitate. You're going to tie yourself into a knot and poop and death roll and all that stuff. But that's the best I can do right now. Okay, 1 down, 2 to go. Come on. Toxic noodles. When hooking is not an option. Hello. You stay over there for right now. Let me get this debris off the table. We don't want to get substrate on the mouse and give people in the audience a stroke because the snake just ate some substrate.
What's up, Elvis?
Hi, Elvis.
Are you feeling left out? There, you got your moment on the camera.
Okay. Well, you're much more interested in biting. Hey, that's not a place to go.
I'll get my own food, thank you.
Now this, I was in error. This looks more like a male than this, which was probably a female. Here, and we can compare tail to tail. That drops off really rapidly. That tapers not so rapidly. Don't regurgitate. See, sometimes you need to have a couple of snakes together to really discern male from female. You want to go that way. See, males want to run. Males don't want to stand and fight. You really like in that bag. Put up a real roadblock there. See, now you can't go in it that way. Aha, got you down.
Oh, and you can see that little pointy scale at the end of the tail.
No, don't go towards Mrs. Viperkeeper. Although she'll just roll back and you'll just flop on the floor and will play snake hockey with a toxic noodle. Now with toxic noodles, if they get on the floor and they look like they're going under something, their life ends there. I just squashed them. It's sad, but can't have them sort of trying to find these little tiny holes. If I can't control them before they get to the edge where the cages are, they're done. It's sad, but all right, you're just not gonna eat. So we're going to restrain you and force you. Huh? There. Nose bopping is a good way to put a snake in park most times. I was feeding the female taipan last night, and although I have this long forcep and I have, she's inside the cage, and I stick the mouse or food item on her nose, she decided that she was going to poke her head out and come towards me. So I bopped her on the head with the hook 3 times, and that sort of got her her attention, and she retreated into the cage. That's right, inject that venom. Are you going to eat that? No, you're just going to chew on it. See, normally I would let them go and see if they would swallow it, but from previous experience feeding baby death adders, that almost never works. So if something doesn't work, I seldom will try it, because I know statistically it's not a terribly viable thing. They don't have much of a neck to hold on to. But you do have very pretty lipstick. I know. I'm sorry. There you go. Now the whole idea with pinky mice, most of the nutrition is in the head, and when you see that sort of pinkish gray ooze, means that their fangs punctured their cranium and you're squeezing the most nutritious part of the pinky out. And plus you're coating their mouth and making them very unhappy. So we try not to do that. Come on. Look at that. Death.
Yep. Twist it around.
Death roll. Okay, stop it. Their ability to death roll is unbelievable. They will literally tie themselves into knots. So sometimes you have to go vertical, which is not my first choice, but they do have these nice little folded fangs. Now death adders fill a niche in their range that an ambush predator viper would fill. These are sort of like the gaboon vipers of Australia in Papua New Guinea. They sit along a game trail and wait for a lizard or another snake or something that they think they can eat comes along, and then they strike, and that usually is the end of the prey item. Unfortunately, in Australia, the death adders are doing this with cane toads, which are very toxic introduced species that's just ravaging the wildlife in Australia. However, some death adders have learned that what you do is you bite the cane toad, you let it die, and then you wait a little while because the cane toad exudes all the toxins, and essentially a little later they can actually ingest it and survive the meal. I read a very interesting behavioral paper on this. I'm a little short on specifics because I read it a long time ago. Well, thank you, but we really need you to hold on to that. Oh, a hoppy toad. This is probably another girl. Oh. Come on. Come on. I know you don't want to do this, but you're a girl. You're supposed to be eating. Come on. Oh! Death adder's ability to go airborne is renowned. Come on. Come on. Many people have gotten bitten by these things going airborne in their cage. Even when they're under substrate, they launch themselves up and attach themselves to your hand or arm, and that's always a very bad occurrence. Come on. Lightning fast. Certainly within that 2 or 3 centimeters around their head and neck, there is no escape. If you're in range, you're bitten, no question. Okay, it's not going to work either, so. Let's flatten ourselves out and look big and bad. Very little difficult critters to pick up. I know if I let go of your head, you're going to spit that out, so I'm not going to even bother. Come on. Now it's quietly wrapping its tail over the edge in hopes that it can pull its head out. Come on. You know, it requires slow, firm pressure, because you don't want to do it really fast because you don't want to rupture their esophagus. You want the muscles to sort of give up and stretch out so you can get the food down, and also you don't want to slip and put the forceps through the esophagus because that will be a very unfortunate way for them to go. Come on. Come on, we're not doing the in, out. We just want it to go down. Come on.
It's not letting that go down.
We're not doing any Linda Lovelace kind of stuff here. Here, I'll wipe your mouth for you. Since you were so resistive, we burst probably the guts of that one. Come on. But all that stuff makes it a very, very slick passage. Okay, that's Death Adder Feeding 101. Now, it may take a few weeks of this, but eventually they'll get the hang of it. At least the females will, and then we can move on to a more normal feeding process, like I'll demonstrate right here with these rough Death Adder juveniles. Eventually they will do that. We're going to do Happy Death Adder now? Huh? You going to do Happy Death Adder? Are you a little weirded out by the attention, huh? He dropped it. I hate that. That one spot just makes terrible noise. Are you ready, huh? Are you going to do Happy Death Adder? Huh? Nope. Okay. Extra. Hey dude, you interested in this? Huh? You are? I thought you might. Yeah, I'm interested in everything you got in the room, Dad. He got one rat last night, a smallish one. So he's expecting more and wondering why he didn't get any additional ones last night, but that's the way it goes. Alright, I've got to get these guys back under heat, so we decrease the chance of regurgitation. I mean, that's big meals for these guys.